Hey, everybody, it's Christine Parakis, and we are back on the Career Invincibility Show with our guest, Samir Soni, who was with us last week. And we're on the brink of hearing this great story. And I can't wait to pick it up again. But just to remind you, in case you didn't, and you have to go back and listen to our first episode last week, he is an extraordinarily successful guy who calls himself ordinary. He's gone from Wall Street to award-winning actor and the star of stage and television in India, and debuted as a writer-director with his psychological thriller called My Birthday Song that is out on Netflix. He stays humble at the same time, and he's very passionate about his work. So welcome, Samir. And let's pick up where we left off.
Okay. Well, thank you once again, Christine, for those fabulous words. And you were rather kind and generous.
Oh, I
And
made up a few things.
I know, I know, I know, I know.
I
We'll
know you
settle.
missed my sarcasm, right?
No, we'll settle the financial part later on. For you
Okay,
saying
good.
such kind words.
The check is in the mail, I hope.
You're absolutely. No, I was last time we were talking about, and when you asked me, the lessons that I learned, while in my journey, which has been over 20, 25 years, I guess.
Yeah,
And
and you had
it,
a mantra that you were going to tell us a story about.
exactly. So I have about two, three moments in my life in which, it was like, okay, something was revealed to me which I did not know was an epiphany. One was when I was 8 years old. And yeah, like I was saying last time, I was pretty shy, pretty introverted, and kind of kept to myself a bit. And I joined theater workshop at the age of 8. And one of the exercises we were given was to pretend being somebody else and waking up in the morning and getting ready to go to school. And I did that, and I felt really good. It felt nice because it felt liberating, because I was no longer me. I was somebody else, and through that somebody else I could express myself. So, and that was fabulous. And then also, well, on the brighter side, I wasn't accountable for my actions. I mean, if you're upset with someone in real life, you can't always go and tell them on their face what you think, or whatever. And me being introverted would further handicap me from expressing myself, freely. So this was something which is fantastic, that it liberated me as a person, and it therefore felt really good. And because it felt really good, and I truly believed in it, I enjoyed so much. People around me enjoyed watching me do what I did. And
That
by
is
that, sorry, God.
I can't imagine. No, I mean, this is like a light bulb, the idea of using a persona that you're being, or a character, to express yourself, who you really are, through the writing of other people's words and another character who isn't you, and how that can be used by any of us to create something that we want to get to.
Yeah, and also that i- it's cathartic, right? Because we
Yeah.
all have pent up emotions inside us, because you can't freely express every emotion when you want, how you want, to who you want. So, for example, if I am doing a tragic scene, the character is going through tragedy, but Samir Soni is crying. And this could have been from what was built up over last few months. So, it's fabulous, because, and that's what makes the performance so real. I'm not here to prove I'm a great actor. I'm not here to prove to anyone anything. What I enjoy doing is when I can tap into my own emotion. Therefore, any emotion I express in front of the camera or the audience is truthful, it's honest. So if I am romancing a girl, I better be in love with her for that moment, right? So
Uh,
that was a big thing. And I said, that's it. That's what I want to do. There's nothing else. Nothing can
so
replace that.
you were talking last week about a mantra. And I want to make sure that we get to the benefit of hearing what that is or what that was back then, and if it formulated into words or that is it in practice.
Okay, I lost you there. Now, which mantra are you talking?
Oh, you had mentioned it last week that there was a mantra that you had for yourself, and you told this story, which we've just heard, and I wonder how it comes into practice.
Well,
This,
I don't know what I actually talked about, but yeah, well, in general, it is being truthful, being honest to yourself, in which what you do is by itself your reward. Okay. Now, I don't know if you are referring to that, but yes, that is one of the things I believe in. That, the action that you do on a daily basis is the reward. It is not a means to an end. That's what I felt, and that's what I feel. So, so that was one, epiphany I had, that this is what I want to do, and I'm fortunate enough that I'm just 8 years old and I already know it. And so all through my schooling days and everything, I was doing a lot of theater and everything, and obviously I transformed as a person. I was far more confident. I was far more, loved, a lot of adulation and everything that's good about it. On top of that, I have something that I can truly express myself with. And so that was one turning point in my life. And the other turning point was when I was working on the Wall Street. Now, here I was working as a financial analyst. I was working in mergers and acquisitions. I was living in Battery Park City in New York, in Manhattan, and I was miserable. Okay, so for a lot of people, when in our last conversation, I said that the end result cannot sometimes what you think will make you happy, and therefore you make that your goal. Once you reach there, you don't feel the way you thought you would feel, and therefore it's very important to question yourself why you're doing it. So I went through Wall Street because, hey, that was a thing to do back in 90s. I was a finance major. I was reasonably competent in my academics, and that was a thing to do. All right. And as we know, that's fairly demanding to be working in an investment bank. And I was
or,
miserable. I'm sorry.
no, I said, of course, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, well, you were putting in an all nighter, once a week. So
Just once a week, so you were working part time.
no one an all nighter.
Right, I know. I heard you. I was saying,
It's
so
like
just one.
no, yeah, yeah. Well, I guess maybe I got it easy, but that was
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
invariably what would happen is that you would come back to office in the morning and there's someone wearing the same clothes and you're like, oh, good one, man. you know. So
Right.
the point I was coming to was that here I am, sort of living my dream, or so I thought it was my dream. Okay. For the time being, acting took a back seat because this suddenly was overwhelming because I did well, I got recruited. I was like, okay, this is great. I can do that. And on the side, because I was missing acting so much, I was taking classes at NYU and wherever I could. But the question I asked myself that if you have what is quote unquote one of the highest paying jobs a graduate can get and most reputed, and you're living where you're living and everything, and if you're unhappy, there is a problem. That means this path is not right. So I had to rethink and said, okay, what is happiness for you? What is it? You know, anyone else from the outside would think, oh wow, man, he's got it made and had a lovely girl with a girlfriend and everything, and life was set. And then I said, no, I'm not happy. And then I questioned myself and I said, look, to me, that's at that point in time, it was 25 years back. I said, at that time, to me, happiness was doing what I enjoy, and I wouldn't mind doing it even if I wasn't paid for it. Idealistic, but that, your reason has to be idealistic, you know. So, so my one reason was I want to do what I love to do, and how I define it as love to do is that I wouldn't mind doing it even if I wasn't getting paid for it. Number one, And number two was that I want someone special in my life to share my highs and lows with. And it was as basic as that. So when I looked around, I said, what is it that I truly enjoy? I don't mind doing it. And it was acting. So that was again a major turning point in my life, which was acting, and I quit my job and I came back to India to pursue acting because at that point in time there weren't too many characters written for Indian actors. And third, and the final epiphany that I had, which was not too long back, 20 years or something, in which I wasn't doing too much work and I was kind of miserable because working kind of became was my life. And again, the same thing of feeling miserable and unhappy was creeping in. And I'm like, okay, what's going on now? What is the thing? I mean, you are not working, you really love working, but you are getting work. And then it revealed to me that the reason that I wasn't doing what I wanted to do or what I should be doing is because there was a part of me that was judging me and saying, oh, you can't do this. This is beneath you. Or you can't do this. What is so and so going to say? Because people are very judgmental in what the kind of projects you might take. And that's true for anything, right? Whatever profession, or that if you're a teacher, oh, how can you go into the small place and teach? You need to teach here or whatever. So then I realized that how being goal oriented had taken away the joy and had put pressure on me to be the way I was. So it's almost the person in me was suffocating the artist in me. The artist in me wanted to perform, to act, and just enjoy it. The person in me was constantly judging myself and saying, no, not this, because if you do this, it might lead to this, it might lead to this, and that's not what you want. The person in me was far more goal oriented. And I forgot that the reason I got into it was because of the process. So I had to kind of backtrack a little bit and said, okay, we will just enjoy the process and you enjoy acting and don't judge it. Just do what makes you happy. And since then, life's been kind, because that's why I also tend to be against goals, because it can take, like, it can take the pleasure out of what you're doing. If you get overly goal oriented, you know, if you keep it simple, you do something, you enjoy it, you keep doing it, you do it over and over again, you get better, and God willing, it'll take you where you want to be. I mean, a fine example is like a musician. Like, I'm sure you heard of Zakir Hussain, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he plays tabla. He's been playing tabla, the instrument, the Indian drums, since he was like 6 or 5 years old. His father was a huge musician. He's about 60 years old now, at least. And you see him, he comes alive when he's performing. It's like he emits this joy, you know. And I don't think for him any day work is work. It's just submission to doing what you truly enjoy, and hopefully that gives you, the energy. So,
Well, when you're talking to your young mentees, and we're talking to our audience out here, who might be entrepreneurs or artists, or, they're setting out early in their adventure, and there's so much pressure, there's so many unknowns, there's so much that you have to go through on the journey to getting somewhere. What do you, I mean, the interviews, whether it's, for jobs, continuing to face rejection, or the grind of never having enough cash flow to get your business off the ground, or trying to figure out your marketing, there's so many pressures on the journey. How do you smooth that out? What do you think are the keys to navigating that?
well, the